My name is Nico Steves. Podcasts this summer season will run 15 minutes each in a re-release of my book, The Constant Procession, the history of the Virgin Mary since she passed on. First up, I'd like to thank you for your listening to these weekly Constant Procession podcasts, and also for purchasing plus spreading the word about my book, The Very Fine Light, which is available on Amazon.com. This summertime, I'll podcast the entire audio version of my first book, The Constant Procession. I hope you enjoy these weekly 15-minute installments that will drop every Tuesday morning throughout the summer right here on NicoSteves.com. And if you want to hear the first episode, just search for episode number 512. The Constant Procession is about some of the most well-known apparitions of the Virgin Mary and how my dedication to the Theotokos, or Mother of God, came about. Also, from time to time during these weekly podcast drops, you'll hear updates about my newest book that is now undergoing the line edit process. This is the final creative step before publication. So stay tuned as I will include updates about this new book from time to time. Now, if you really want to keep up with the latest on the new book's self-publishing journey, join my email list at NicoSteves.com. Heck, for those who sign up and are interested, please know that I may be asking you for feedback about the book's title selection as well as the cover art design. So sign up today and tell a friend who may also enjoy this experience into a book being published. By the way, keep me posted on what you're up to in the comments section of my website or via email at nicosteves@gmail.com. And now, my first original work, The Constant Procession. Installment 11. As it came to be each time before the Madonna would appear, a sudden flash of lightning struck. Afraid at first, the children began to gather up their sheep, and a second flash stopped them in their tracks. They looked at an oak tree and spotted a lady, brighter than the sun. They were bathed in a mysterious light when the Madonna spoke. "Do not be afraid, I shall not harm you." According to the three, she wore a white robe and a mantle just edged with gold, which covered her head, fell on her shoulders, and reached down to her feet. Her hands were joined in prayer and held a rosary of shining pearls. Summoning courage, Lucia asked the lady her name, and Lucia heard, "I come to ask you to come here for 6 months in succession on the 13th day at the same hour. Then I will tell you who I am and what I want." The ethereal woman asked for recitation of the rosary every day to end the war and bring peace. Though the children promised each other to keep silent about what happened, little Jacinta could not keep hold of her happiness and told her parents. The news ran through the little village, and from there the attack started. Even their parents at first refused to believe the children. Lucia's mother went so far as to threaten her if she did not take back what she had said. The date of the second apparition came. Some people, curiosity-driven, followed the children, but the parents did not go, perhaps to avoid more criticism and embarrassment. The Paris vicar, Reverend Marquis Ferreira, chose to stall as he doubted the story told by the children. Lucia's mother had been the most severe. However, the mother of Francisco and Jacinta reproached her children, but deep in her heart she believed them, and they had never lied before. By the time of the 3rd month and the 3rd apparition, 4,000 to 5,000 people came. The children were pestered, and at the same time accused of being liars. Lucia felt depressed with these developments, and so requested Our Lady for some miracle that would do away with all doubts. "Continue to come every month. In October, I will tell you who I am and what I want, and I will show you a great miracle so that everyone may believe." Unknown to the world for a long time is that some of the most extraordinary facts of these apparition meetings remained secret at the Madonna's request. Lucia wrote in her memoirs, The secret consists of three different things, though they are closely connected. I shall refer to two of them, for the third must remain as yet unrevealed. From the official Vatican committee known as the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, after a period of time, revealed these first two Fatima secrets. The first secret, a vision of hell, quote, an ocean of fire in which were plunged, charred, and burnt both devils and souls with human shape. The second secret, if you pay heed to my request, Russia will be converted and there will be peace. If not, Russia will spread her errors through the world, causing wars and persecutions against the Church. Many will suffer martyrdom. The Holy Father will have much to suffer, and several nations will disappear. In the meantime, the name of Fatima began to spread everywhere, and the civil authorities, then anti-religious, started a very serious opposition, first by repeated questions to the children, then by arresting them, followed with threats of death, a death by boiling them in oil, unless they recanted and denied the truth of all they had stated before. On the 13th of August, several thousand pilgrims awaited the events. But they soon learned that the administration had taken the children to the county headquarters. However, the crowd heard the same clap of thunder which had preceded the other apparitions, and witnessed a very white cloud hung above the tree where the children would always be. But in this month, the three shepherds saw the Madonna on the 19th, since they had been under arrest on the 13th, and the apparition took place elsewhere, at Velinhos. September neared. A few more thousand people came to Fatima, though by then everyone knew that just the children had been able to see the Blessed Virgin. Nevertheless, almost all the bystanders witnessed strange things. Some noticed a reduction of sunlight and a drop in temperature. Sick people got cured upon Lucia's request to the Lady. In the remaining time before the final apparition in October, well-intended people would both praise and chastise the children, casting doubts about the wisdom of saying a miracle would occur in October. On the eve before the apparition, more and more people came to the site. On the big day, it rained. Real fear tormented the parents of the children. They had many concerns and questions. How many of the crowd would be Roman Catholics? How many came as a curiosity or for other less trustworthy reasons? How many would be reporters? What would happen if no miracle occurred? Tremendous responsibilities hung over their three children. But this time, all the parents stood by their children. We will die, if necessary, with our children. The rain kept up. The three children kept vigil by the oak tree. Of this once attractive little tree of green leaves, the trunk remained. Its branches had been converted into souvenirs. As the hour approaches, the sun reached high noon. The already well-known flash of lightning announces that the Blessed Lady has come. The crowd looks up towards the sky. Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta are already seeing the Blessed Mother over the little tree. The Madonna then told the shepherds this as her name, quote, Our Lady of the Rosary. And she added that she, quote, wanted a chapel to be built there in her honor, unquote. She also announced that the war neared its end. Our Lady then insisted the children continue to pray the 5 mysteries of the Rosary. Quote, Men must mend their ways. They must not continue to offend our blessed Lord, who is already so very much outraged and offended. Unquote. The seers later told the crowd that the Madonna appeared to have been suffering incomparable sadness. After a brief dialogue, with her hand the Virgin made the children look toward the sun. Lucia cried out, Look at the sun! Amazed, the crowd realized that they could look right at the sun with no pain to their eyes. The rain had stopped, the cloud disappeared, and the sun, now a luminous disk of very faint light that seemed to be surrounded by a crown that had an amazing shine to it. As they were looking at it, it burst into movement, shaking with brutal violence. It would turn around on its own center like a fireworks pinwheel display. Light beams of many colors bolted in every direction. The earth and that great crowd, estimated to be well over 30,000 people, found themselves lit in a variety of changing colors, violet, then yellow, sometimes blue, or again violet, or red, on and on. Everyone panicked. Down on their knees they went, on the muddy soil, unable to repress control of their anguish. The phenomena of the sun repeated this cycle 2 more times. All of this must have taken about 10 minutes. At that point, the sun seemed to disintegrate. The people prayed and cried. The miracle, as had been promised by the Madonna. All of the people there had seen it. Others, not just Roman Catholic believers, but other non-Catholics alike. They included the affluent, townfolk, and country folk. Even within the radius of a few miles, they say they saw the phenomena. Later, the seers revealed, during the miracle of the sun, they had seen in the solar disk the Holy Family, the Madonna, Saint Joseph, and the infant Jesus, as they had been promised in the September apparition. There had been many eyewitness testimonials to the event, but for the outside world, the non-believers became the most significant witnesses. They included skeptics, civil authorities, and journalists. The story of this public display, coming from this wide variety of witnesses to acknowledge seeing a promised otherworld experience, defied logic. Though explained away by non-believers as a mass hysterical phenomena, it gave credence to the apparition and helped to validate the Fatima apparitions of the Virgin Mary. This apparition appeared to have been an attempt to remind mankind in a most remarkable way to encourage the best from men. The Madonna offered this as a challenge to the customary ways of man, that of fighting with one another, to challenge and run counter to the philosophy, might makes right, to choose instead to use one's free will to find common ground, to do this through love and to do this with trust, to live each day by these ways as had been taught by her Son. Chapter 20. Unheard Words. Once again, from the lips of these babes came a reminder of the importance of the free will men possess. And in that new age of mechanization, where new machines could be built to ease man's burdens or developed to force one man's will over another, the choices between machines that could help feed the whole world or machines that could help build weapons capable of managing the free will of others, mankind's use of free will made choices. Many chose force. With the brutality of World War I so heavy upon them, mankind still proceeded on the same course, with little regard to the messages from these little kids. And for the communists in Portugal, they, for their part, in those times, kept a stranglehold over the country. They could not afford to just stand by and watch these babes instill a bit of religion into the modern culture in Portugal at the time. People, weak and powerful alike, chose to overlook the events at Fatima and the requests to the call to pray. And as the world dug deep, entrenched in warfare, humanity, if it could be called that, became more scarred and embittered. And though many non-believers saw the miracle of the sun at Fatima on that day, and could have used the new communication technologies to telescope the requests of the Madonna far and wide, those who controlled such media did not choose to use these tools to spread the message. One can no more than speculate what could have happened had the Madonna's plea been heeded. During this 6-month period of these apparitions, World War I is in its 4th year. At this time also, the Russian Revolution gained strength. The Russian revolutionaries, by October 1917, overthrow the last vestiges of their old regime. Though at first the revolutionary leaders end the death penalty and empower local citizens to run their own area governments, but before long the People's Revolution accelerated into a period of upheavals. Everybody and every place saw change, and with it came confusion. The most aggressive party members pushed the weak aside, and before long, might overtook most of the people's basic desired goal: to live with freedom of choice and self-determination. These ideas of freedom of choice, almost from the start, came at odds with the new leaders of the people who had orchestrated the revolution. Before long, the most aggressive people became leaders of this once acclaimed people's movement, evolving to a point where the most dominant leader, Lenin, banned religion in the new Soviet Union. Lenin, followed by Stalin, used violence in their aggressive power grabs that forced mass purges of their competitors, political and religious alike. The bright new start of a free Russian society, lost out as the people's new socialist rule degenerated and turned the tide against humanity. And the road taken after World War I, the so-called war to end all wars, led to alienate the people rather than keep their faith as offered by the apparition, with her guidance of prayer as a means to expand the ways of peace. In other parts of the world, the victors from World War I used their free will to promote and pursue the newfound power of their inventions, preferring the raw power of their weapons and intellectual abilities rather than choosing the more humble approach and revisit their faith in God. The results of these choices? It empowered the more aggressive and vocal, those whose preferred choice again and again came to be might makes right. These leaders played lip service to the humble way of faith and prayer, as offered by a belief in God. Seldom considered due to the emotional horror of lost life in any violent conflict, is the additional toll these losses take. Coupled with the loss of loved ones, is the loss to society of the best minds. This creates a vacuum in leadership, since among the numbers of people lost in battle is an unknown number of the best and brightest. When a war hero is asked to reflect about their acts, almost every one of them want first to acknowledge those who didn't return from battle. Perhaps it is they alone who understand the proportion of this loss. They remember those fallen warriors as people who had gifts, talents, and beliefs that may have better guided the homeland had they returned from the field of battle. This is Nico Steves. I hope you enjoyed this installment. My book, The Very Fine Light, can be found using the title The Very Fine Light on Amazon.com. Please feel free to contact me at nicosteves.com. That's Nikos Steves, Steves.com. If you like this episode, and for more, share them with friends. This is Nico Steves. Thank you. See you next time.